because it's a big school. There are two of us. And we've done a lot to connect with the faculty in our college. While we're entirely online, we do see our people face to face once or twice a year when there's no COVID, but we work from home. Kim is in Pennsylvania, and I'm in Minneapolis, Minnesota. So, your key takeaways today, basically, that marketing is not a bad word. It's all about building relationships. You want to use all platforms that are available to make contact, and you always want to frame it as a WIFM or what's in it for me to the faculty for buy in. So, we'll try to answer questions as we go, but we may delay some answers, so please bear with us. So, basically, outreach is nothing more than marketing. I think that it's important to be self aware and own the fact that librarians are pretty notoriously bad at marketing. Believe it or not, marketing's not a bad word. Kim and I are both second career librarians, so we have been exposed to professional climates that are really different from academic librarianship. And while not all of us can be extroverts like my delightful colleague, we can consciously develop a plan that we're comfortable with in order to reach out systematically and effectively. Self promotion is how we get to be seen and how we get to be involved. So at Walden, we do have some special challenges just because of the fact that we are entirely online, something we've been doing for years. And now because of COVID, everyone has joined in the world of always virtual. So how's it possible to reach out online? Well, we have to do it using all available platforms in order to maximize touch points because we can't drop in on people in their offices or bump into them on campus. Building relationships and schmoozing in a virtual environment requires getting creative, but the return on investment from these relationships is high. Our most effective method of getting faculty on board with the library has been to find out who's frustrated with students' lack of information literacy skills. Those faculty end up being our best partners. And this has brought us into the classroom. It's given us opportunities to partner in mentoring, to inform faculty of the ACRL framework and how it relates to student research in practical terms. And we've even managed to get in on a research project this way. Really, whatever it takes so that they see us as partners who can collaborate with them for student success. We do sit in on faculty meetings to find out what they're interested in and talking about. This helps us tailor our outreach so that they're interested in including us because we align our outreach efforts with their interests and concerns. And of course, feeding the egos by referencing what they're talking about in their meetings, in their research, helps a lot. It also helps if you don't give them extra work, or if you are giving them extra work, you have to always be ready to talk up how it's going to pay off for them. As far as framing it to the faculty in that WIFM or what's in it for me context, that really is going to depend on how your institution works. It may be that all you have to do is tell them that they'll have better papers to grade. That might be enough. I've actually done that before. For some, the faculty are feeling pressure to have good student completion rates. Faculty jobs at Walden do depend in part on student success, especially for doctoral mentoring. So if we can show them that sending students to us helps students complete their dissertations and graduate, we are demonstrating that library partnerships hold a very high value for them. Just to let you know, each graphic slide is going to be followed by a slide with the talking points, so you have them for reference when you download the PowerPoint, and I'll upload that into chat in just a minute. So we'll start talking about specific examples of projects we've done now with Kim starting. Oh,
No, sorry about that. I couldn't find my mouse to get over to the unmute. Thanks, Anne. So Anne and I take every opportunity we can to contact our faculty, but we make sure that we have a purpose because there is a fine line between spamming and outreach. We let faculty know about everything that we're doing and what's going on in the library, upcoming webinars, new databases or resources that we get, even new research that we may find in journals. Setting up journal alerts or alerts on professional websites is a great way to do this. So for instance, I have an alert set up with the National Center for Education Statistics, and I send the notifications from them about the availability of new data sets to faculty in the College of Education as I receive them. Now, one of our student services that Ann and I offer are research appointments with doctoral students. Now, these are 30-minute synchronous meetings, usually in Zoom, where we work with a student on their research. We also keep track of their chairs or advisors for these students. Now we have a list of faculty that we can contact. That's our in. We let them know that their student made an appointment with us, or we thank them for referring the student to us. And then we use that as an opening to ask them if there's anything that they need from us or to share library resources with them. When we do webinars, we review the registrations to see if there are any faculty attending. And this is usually pretty easy because faculty and staff emails look a little bit different than student emails, so we can usually pick them out right away. We can then email them, those faculty members, to let them know of additional webinars coming up or to ask for suggestions for future webinars. We've gotten a lot of great ideas for future webinars by doing this. In fact, it's a good idea to invite faculty to attend your student-facing webinars so they know what you're doing and what you're capable of, and they can even offer some feedback. We use Outlook for faculty outreach. So, most people have a standard signature that auto-populates in their emails. And Anna and I have this as well, but we also have a faculty signature specifically for them that we substitute in whenever we email a faculty member. Now, this signature line also has a short little blurb advertising a College of Education library resource that is part of our outreach. And I'm going to talk a little bit later about exactly what it's advertising. But whenever we email whenever we email faculty or respond to faculty emails, we simply go to signatures, swap out our regular one for the faculty signature, and there's another opportunity for faculty outreach. Faculty newsletters are a great way to reach out to faculty members in the virtual environment as well. For our library, we have a faculty newsletter. It's not just Ann and I from the College of Education. It goes to all of the Walden faculty, so it's not college specific. It's published quarterly, and liaisons from all of the different colleges at Walden are in rotation to submit stories to this newsletter. And even though it does go to all faculty, Ann and I can still use it to promote some of our College of Education events and resources when it's our turn to submit a story. And finally, we also have library faculty pages. These are faculty-facing pages for all of the colleges at Walden. Students cannot access them. They're just for faculty members. And Ann and I added the content for the College of Education faculty pages. Here, faculty can find resources specifically for them, such as information on research for their own personal research, how to find some grants, even publishing, to name a few. And then it also has referral forms for faculty to refer students to our services. This makes it easier for the faculty to contact us directly. Now, one of our favorite outreach projects is synchronous instruction, in particular, drop-in sessions. This is when we work with faculty to schedule a meeting with their students for some library instructions in a specific course. Ann and I were looking for new opportunities to work with faculty, so we started keeping track of the courses students were enrolled in who were making those research appointments with us. And we found that most of those students were enrolled in one of 4 doctoral level courses. So, since sometimes it's easier to ask for forgiveness than permission, we just went ahead and we designed course drop-ins specifically for those courses. We looked at each course schedule and the learning outcomes for each week throughout the entire course, for all 4 of them. And then we designed 4 30-minute drop-in sessions that aligned with the learning outcomes for specific weeks in those courses. It ended up being about every other week that we would do a drop-in session. Now, although the timing of these 4 sessions aligned with those 4 specific courses that we identified through our students using the research appointment service, we did a bulk mailing to all faculty teaching doctoral level courses to advertise these drop-ins because the topics that we were covering in each of them were relevant to all students. And basically, we told faculty, we created these sessions to help your students succeed in your courses. By attending these sessions, your students are going to be able to demonstrate better research skills and competence in their assignments, discussion posts, and in their capstone projects. This is how we framed it in the "what's in it for me" context for the faculty. Faculty outreach was the only marketing that we did for these sessions. We would email all faculty before term start with all 4 sessions listed in the email and links to register for each one. And then about a week before each individual session, we would send another email to all faculty with a link to register for that session. Now, not all faculty would share this information with the students or in their classrooms, but we kept sending the emails anyway. We sent it to everyone on our list. And faculty started getting used to it, and many of them started responding to us and thanking us for doing these sessions. And some have told us that they even recommend that their student mentees attend all 4 of these sessions. And just to give you an idea of what we covered in these sessions, again, they were designed for doctoral level students, but obviously you can change the topics to fit with the weekly outcomes of any course at any level in your college. The first one was on finding a doctoral level topic and staying organized. The second one covered search strategies. The third one was on using dissertations, and the fourth one was on theories and theorists. Each session was recorded, and the recording was sent to anyone who registered for that session. We could also then send the recording to any faculty who requested it. And then after each session, we would stop the recording and just hang out for a while to see if anyone had any questions. And this is when the students would become even more engaged. They would start asking questions, and we would have a really good conversation about the topics we just covered. Now, we've been doing these drop-ins for these courses for a couple of terms now. So the faculty, they've been seeing our names, and it was slow, but they began to buy in. Like I mentioned before, they began recommending the sessions to their mentees and even attending them. We believe the sessions have been a great success. The feedback from the students has been overwhelmingly positive, as well as the feedback from the faculty members who have attended these sessions as well. But we need more to get all faculty on board. So we've been collecting data throughout all of these sessions for all the terms that we have been doing them. We've been collecting data on the registrations, what courses they're in, the attendance, questions asked during the session, and then survey responses filled out from attendees, as well as non-attendees after each session. The survey was emailed to everybody who registered. We just finished a full year of collecting all this data, and we're planning on submitting the data to our Office of Institutional Research and Assessment, to see if there's any correlation between the grades or course completion for attendees versus non-attendees from those 4 original courses. And then we can share this with the faculty. We can invite them to a session to do it live, synchronously with them, or we can just send it to them asynchronously. But it's something that we have to help the faculty realize what we can do for them to help them make their job a little bit easier. Now, this slide just goes over the drop-in structure in case you're interested on how we did it. It was 4 half-hour sessions aligned with the weekly outcomes, and we presented it the same day and time of week for consistency. So I believe it was like every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern. And then how we emailed the faculty, regardless of whether or not they responded or posted or shared, we kept on emailing them. We wanted them to know our names, and they started knowing our names and buying in. So now I'm going to send this back over to Anne to talk about some other Blackboard outreach we did with faculty.
Thanks, Kim. So what we've done is lead Blackboard discussion posts, and this came after we presented to a faculty group in one of their monthly meetings. We titled the presentation, How to Help Librarians Help Students Help Themselves. And after we presented that to the faculty group, one of the faculty members reached out and asked us that we lead a discussion board in a doctoral prospectus writing class. So what we did was put together a number of questions based on appointment experiences that we'd had with students, and we also used the ACRL frames uh, to base it on, and then the faculty looked over the options and chose what she wanted us to use. So we ended up with these two questions. What are the required elements of a capstone project topic for it to be considered grounded in the literature? And then also, what does the librarian mean when she says, let the literature lead the way as you explore research surrounding your capstone topic? So after a robust discussion thread in Blackboard, which was asynchronous, we dropped in for a synchronous session in Zoom. So in the synchronous session, students asked questions about library navigation and search techniques using their topics as examples. And we did ask a few questions of them as well so that we could find out about student perceptions of the library to help us tweak future sessions. Now, we've also done modified versions of this in master's level courses, so you can really adapt it to whatever the assignment need is and whatever level course you're dropping in on. So back to you.
Okay. So another outreach program we created for faculty is the classroom announcement blog, specifically for the College of Education. Now, we know that faculty are busy, so we wanted to make this as easy as possible for them. We designed short blurbs advertising resources or upcoming events from the library that faculty could just cut and paste directly into their classroom discussion boards or into weekly emails to students. There's a link to each weekly announcement on the College of Education's faculty page. And this is what it looks like on the faculty page, where they can click on each week to see what we were sharing with them. But we also provided them with the option to sign up to receive the weekly feed directly to their email. This is the advertisement that we added to our faculty signature. We put a link, we told them what it was, and then put a link for them to subscribe to the weekly blog in this faculty signature so that every time we email faculty, they're getting a link to either subscribe to the blog or just know that the blog is there for them. And this is what it looks like. You can see we have the week, and then we tell them, copy and paste these announcements into your courses. They don't have to do anything else but copy them, stick them into their discussion boards or an email. We always have at least 2 per week, sometimes 3 if there's a lot going on. If there's only one webinar or no webinars, then we will share library resources, such as our capstone appointment service or recorded education research webinars or other library guides we have for students, or even some outside information such as the National Center for Education Statistics Condition of Education 2020 report. So by doing this, we are in essence using faculty to do our advertising for us and to promote our services. And this works wonderfully for us because we found that students are more likely to use our service if faculty refer them to us.
Funny how that works.
Mm-hmm.
So faculty meetings. I'm not going to lie, meetings can be a real slog. But that said, meetings are an example of one of those things that initially seemed unlikely to contribute much to our relationship building, but we tried it anyway. And we've discovered that meetings have given us a really high return on the time investment. So there are a number of things at work here. As I mentioned before, listening in allows us to find out what they're talking about. When you know what they're discussing, what they're publishing, you can work that into your outreach efforts. It's also how people can see us. Being online can make visibility a real challenge, so showing up to meetings reminds faculty that we're available to partner with them. We get a lot of faculty sending students to us after they've seen us in their meetings, and we've gotten some of our collaborative projects going from this too. They're reminded of us whether we're just listening in or if we're contributing to the meeting by presenting. Also, you can also always find a way to put a comment into the chat box in a virtual meeting and to connect the discussion uh, to the library. So we've presented on all sorts of things, including but not limited to simulations of a one-shot library session. We've talked to them about the ACRL framework for information literacy. We ran a discussion in their February gathering just last week that was a brainstorming session on how we can work together to improve scaffolding of information literacy instruction into the coursework so that students are getting what they need just in time. We also, at a virtual holiday party, presented on holiday traditions around the world, which was just for fun because at Walden, that's how we socialize. So really the biggest payoffs for us is visibility, and that by sitting in on those meetings, it's the easiest way for us to find out what they're talking about, what issues interest them. It's how we align our outreach efforts with their interests, which is the foundation of figuring out how to frame it as the what's in it for me. And that WIFM gets them, um, it gets their attention. It establishes a seat at the table for the library. Really very effective. So there are lots of returns on those meetings and attending them. You can float test balloons, align our interests with theirs, socialize, brainstorm with them, integrate the information literacy instruction into the curricula, and also for referrals, and just the general exposure for the library and for the librarians in particular. So that's really it in a nutshell. Marketing is not a bad word. It's all about building relationships, collaboration and partnerships, and using all the platforms that are available, because even those that seem like a long shot can be really great. And if it doesn't work, you can always just abandon it and move on and try something else. Keeping that what's in it for me is always going to help you get more faculty engagement and buy-in. And then that way everybody reaps the benefits. So that's what we've got for you, a few resources at the end. So somebody was not able to upload the PowerPoint file. If you want to email me directly, I can send it to you via email. Do we have the email on the previous slide, Kim?
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. There we go.
So it's just ann.rojas@mail.waldenu.edu. I'll be happy to send it to you. Any other questions about anything that we talked about or anything that we didn't talk about? Crickets.
Yeah.
It's the worst.
Short and to the point. Thank you for coming.
Okay, well, hopefully you've gotten a few ideas for how to make contact, how frequently we email.
Well, someone had asked a question about any strategies we tried that really bombed that we wouldn't recommend. Well, let me see. I think we've been pretty good about most of the things we've been doing, because we like to stay in the background. You know, we're just kind of floating back there on the peripherals so they don't see us like in meetings and everything. Trying to get into as many meetings as we can. there's a lot of different departments, and some people aren't as open to it as others. So there were some people that we reached out to and asked, hey, can we join these meetings? We'll be quiet in the back. And they didn't want us there. But those were smaller departments. The larger ones, like for the entire school, we were in those meetings. So, I can understand that. They have some things they don't want the library to know. So, which is understandable, but that really I think is the only thing. Otherwise, I've never had anyone tell me that I'm emailing them too much, which is what I always thought I would get. So instead of an email telling them to take me off whatever list they are on, and that hasn't happened yet, which is good.
And the fact that it's optional to sign up for the newsy thing, that helps too, because then they've opted in. So we're not spamming them. They've signed up for it.
Right. And the other group emails that we were doing to advertise the webinars for those level students, for the faculty teaching courses for the doctoral level students, I understand. Yeah, there is a fine line between spamming and outreach, and I do every email that we send out in a group email, we make sure it has a specific purpose. So with these emails, we did 4 sessions for each term. So they only received 5 emails. They received one before the term with listing all 4, and then they received one the week before each session. And we try to keep it like that when we're advertising by those emails, because they get a lot of emails, the school's sending them, students are sending them, and so forth. So we just want to make sure that when we are sending emails, we definitely have a purpose or an in. If we're emailing just one faculty member, to be like, your mentee made an appointment with us. It was great talking with them, and that's our in. They had questions about this. Is there anything we can do for you? Is there anything else you want us to do for that student? Really just getting our names, them to know our names, to know that we even exist.
That's part of the WIFM, the what's in it for me thing too, is to always have the purpose instead of just emailing in bulk saying, hi, remember us? We're the library. It actually has a specific purpose that it's pointing to. So that does help as well to try to keep it super focused.
Mm-hmm.
Pushback from upper administration about contacting faculty. Yes and no. Our approach is more to ask forgiveness than permission. Did I say that out loud?
That's pretty much it.
That's it in a nutshell. Do we find more engagement during day, evening, or on weekends?
I've never done weekends. I've done weekend appointments. My work week happens to be Sunday through Thursday. So I work on Sundays, and I've done weekend appointments with students if we can't fit them in elsewhere. But for faculty,
we do the evening webinars.
Yeah.
Which, really, because we're online all the time and have been for years, we kind of do whatever we need to do to schedule things. Students who are in unusual places, unusual time zones around the world, we just work with them individually. And sometimes the faculty are in unusual places too. I know we had a faculty member once who was, I think that her spouse worked on a cruise ship, so she'd be in all sorts of different places, and they just have to, then the onus is on them to do the workaround for the time issues.
Right, and the students and the faculty are also used to that, being in a university that is international with global students. They understand that we can't always offer things when it's convenient for them. But that's us. Obviously your schools are different. You might all be in the same school time zone, because we're never all in the same time zone. But we try to do, if we do something during the day, we always try to do something in the evening too, because we know that our students in particular, because they're doctoral level students, usually have careers and they're also going to school. So we want to try doing these things on off hours when they aren't at work.
That's really how Walden got off the ground, was to offer advanced degree programs for working adults. So content in the newsletters, it really varies. I would say that engagement and referrals are the best way that we get feedback, and how many people we have subscribed. Can you think of anything else, Kim?
Well, everyone takes turns. All the different liaisons from the different colleges are in rotation, so they submit their own story to that newsletter. Usually we highlight something new, a new database or some other resources, or some resources that we note haven't been being used. So if we're not getting a lot of clicks on a few guides, we might highlight them. And sometimes we have just something fun, libraries around the world, so
And
a
getting
fun
to know
story.
us, we
Yes,
feature different
that's
librarians
right.
too.
Yeah, interviewing the librarians, just a little background about each of us.
I wouldn't say that in reference to the question about the instructors feeling comfortable, I would say that they feel pretty comfortable most of the time. I mean, we do have the added issue of working with teachers, and teachers are kind of notoriously bad at asking for help. And so some of our instructors suffer from that as well. But we try to make it as casual and conversational as possible so that they do feel comfortable, just to open it up and
Mhm.
make us easily accessible, I guess.
Yeah, easy accessibility is great that they know to reach out to us. And we respond. If we get an email from a faculty member, we respond to that.
Very true. Okay. Well, looks like it's about it. Thanks, everybody, for coming.
Yeah,
We
thank you so
appreciate the
much for coming.
opportunity, and you know how to find us as well. So just reach out if anything else comes up. Have a good afternoon.
Thank you. Bye-bye.